Hi everyone, welcome to this week's edition of Wellness Wednesday, Paddling Tips. I'm your host for today, Seychelle, and it's lovely. It's a lovely day, and I can't wait to talk to you today about some of my favorite warm-up exercises for stand-up paddlers. And so if you want to play along today, I might use a paddle a little bit, but most of the exercises you can do just with your body. And I'm going to go over, several warm-up exercises, some of my favorite warm-up exercises, but it is by no means an extensive list of all of the warm-up exercise possibilities that there are. And so it's important for you to explore different ones and find the ones that are right for you and your body. So I'll talk a little bit about why it's important to get a proper warm-up. And so when we warm up, we are literally elevating our body temperature, right? Warming ourselves up. And what that does is that helps the tissues and the muscles and the joints to loosen up. When they get warm, it's easier to loosen them up. That helps increase the range of motion in your joints. And at the same time, in order to help that loosening up process as they're warming up and increasing that range of motion, we're doing dynamic stretching exercises to help that happen. And also when we warm up, we want to elevate our heart rate. And when we elevate our heart rate, we are helping to activate our aerobic system. So we're activating our aerobic system, we're elevating our heart rate, we're loosening our muscle tissues and our joint tissues, and we are helping prepare our body to take a significant load. And so that is whether or not you're doing a cardio exercise or a strength exercise, whether or not you're training for, or you're warming up for a race or just a training session, it's really important to warm up. And those are the things that we're trying to achieve when we do a warm-up. So let's go ahead and look at what are some of my favorite pre-paddle warm-up exercises. I'm going to put my hair up so that it's not going everywhere for this little demo. All right. So I want to, if I'm doing a strength exercise, I will do my cardio before I do my dynamic exercise series. If I'm going for a paddle training session, I'll do my dynamic stretching series on land, and then I'll do the cardio portion of my warm-up where I'm elevating my heart rate a little bit more once I get out on the water. So I'm going to do this today like I'm going for a paddle and go over some of my favorite paddling exercises. So if you have comments, if something happens with, where you can't hear me or if there's an issue, please just put, or questions, please just put those in the comments in the questions box, and I'll be checking those out as we go along, trying to keep an eye on those. So actually don't need my paddle quite yet. So first thing I want to do actually is I want to take some deep breaths. I want to just tell my body, like, let's start expanding that diaphragm. Let's start breathing, making sure we're breathing diaphragmatically and expanding this area of our body 360 degrees. So the belly, the rib cage, the chest, all of that is expanding and releasing. Taking some deep breaths. And so then I'm going to start doing some arm circles. I'm going to make some big arm circles, and I'm still going to continue to breathe deeply. So I'm just checking shoulder range of motion, not doing anything that hurts. I'm going to change directions, just feeling how my body feels, how my chest feels, how my shoulders feel, how my back feels as I do some circles. And then I'm going to add some swings in. I'm going across my body, and I'm just gently swinging here, really relaxed. My arms are really relaxed, my shoulders are really relaxed, and I'm just letting the momentum kind of carry me here. And every time I swing my arms, I maybe just get a little bit further and a little bit more range of motion, opening up my chest. I might change the level of where my arms are at, a little lower or a little higher. So then I'm going to do a couple of neck stretches. I'm going to bring my head to one side and I'm going to gently push my head back up into this hand for 5 seconds and release, and then a gentle stretch. I'm going to push my head into my hand for 5 or 3. I'm going to release, and then I'm going to push 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to release. I'm going to do the other side. This arm's reaching down. This arm is just meeting the pressure of my head as I push my head into my hand. 2, 3. I'm going to release, and I'll push my head into my hand. So this is more of an active stretch, not necessarily a dynamic stretch, but I'm still activating and lengthening the muscle tissues as I'm stretching. You want to go not with dynamic ballistic movements for your neck, but active stretches for your neck. So then I'm going to do some good mornings. I'm going to take my feet about hip width apart, and I'm going to turn sideways for this one. So my feet are hip to shoulder width apart, and they're pointing forward. And these are basically some hip hinges. My hands are gonna come up by my shoulders, and this movement's gonna be initiated by the hips pulling back. And I should feel a nice stretch into the hamstring, and there is a bend in the knees, and I'm gonna press into the glutes and lift up, and I'm going to hips, draw back, my core stays tight, my back stays flat. I press the backs of the legs, and these are good mornings. Nice bend in the knees, nice hip hinge, and I'm lengthening my hamstrings. I'm activating the back of my body, my posterior chain, and I'm working on keeping a nice neutral spine as my body hinges, which will come in handy as I'm paddling later. So I'm doing about 10 of these. And then once I get down into the bottom and I'm feeling pretty loose, I don't have to be perfectly parallel to the ground, whatever feels like the right temperature for me. I'm going to lift my elbows up. I'm going to lift my wrists, try and keep them in line with my elbows. And the back of my neck is long and pulling up and away. And I'm just going to do some shoulder slides here, where I'm trying to keep my wrists and elbows in one line. And I'm trying to bring my elbows to my pockets and then reach my arms overhead. Elbows to pockets. Reach arms overhead, pull the back of the neck long, pull the hips back. You should feel this along the whole back side of your body. Head up, and then I'm going to do one of my good mornings, pressing into the back of the legs. To lift forward, I see a question. Cool. All right, so then I'm going to step my legs into a little bit of a lunge position. And a little bit of a lunge position. My back heel is up off of the ground. Come on, camera. My back heel is up off of the ground. There we go. And both toes are pointing forward. My hips are pointing forward. My legs are pulling towards one another. And when I pull them towards one another, I feel my body lifting up. And I'm going to reach my arms up. And I'm going to stretch the sides of my body really long. And as I'm reaching up, I'm going to take the heel. And the back heel is just going to lower down and lift up. So my legs are pulling towards one another. My arms are reaching up. My spine is long. My belly's in. And my back heel is lowering down and up. And this is a really deep stretch for your ankle, the front of your ankle, which will come in handy later once we get on our board. And we want ankle flexion in our paddle stance. And then I'm going to just hold the top of that lunge, and I'm going to do some side bends over to my front leg side. I'm going to reach up and over. And come back to center. I'm going to reach up and over. Back to center, and one more time, up and over. You feel this in the front of the hip and the whole side of the body, coming back, and changing legs. Lunge, toes point forward, hips point forward. Legs pull towards one another. There's a slight bend in the back knee, a deeper bend in that front leg. I'm lifting up. My arms reach up. I'm reaching long. And my back heel is going to lower and lift. Stretching that ankle deeply. I'm going to side bend over towards my front leg side, reaching 2, 3, lifting back to center, reaching 2, 3, back to center. One more time to the side, center, and then release. Shake it out. So then I'm going to grab my paddle, and I'm going to just rotate side to side with my paddle in my hands, nice wide grip in front of me, and I'm letting my hips be loose here. My shoulders are loose, my whole body just going side to side, nice and relaxed. Paddle goes behind the head, and now my hips stay pointing forward. My feet are as wide as they would be on my board. And I'm going to just gently go side to side. I'm going to try and keep my hips pointing forward as my upper body rotates side to side. Hips are forward, upper body rotates side to side. And then, same stance like I'm on my board. Really relax your legs, your ankles, your knees. And I'm going to take my paddle like I'm holding it. I'm going to hold it a little lower because I'm on the ground here. I don't want to slam my paddle into the ground. But I'm going to keep my hips pointing forward. I'm going to swing and do a rotation like almost like I'm setting up to take a stroke, but exaggerating that swing a little bit. So you should feel a nice side stretch here. This is working on your thoracic rotation, helping you with your range of motion in your stroke. And then I'm going to do the other side. And then I'm going to stop and I'm going to go as if I'm taking a stroke. And as I place that tip of the blade down, do this on grass or sand, hopefully not on hard cement, but as I swing and as I place my paddle down, I'm going to put downward pressure down as if I'm taking a stroke. And I'm going to pause and I'm going to feel, where is that activation? Where do I feel that downward pressure? And I'm looking to feel that in my lat. Okay, so I'm going to swing. I'm going to go to take a stroke. I'm looking to feel that downward pressure through my posterior chain, through my lat, and maybe even through the back of the legs. What I'm not looking to feel is when I swing and take that stroke, what I'm not looking to feel is my shoulder, my chest, my neck, right? I want to make sure that when I go to activate my body, the lats are what's activating. If not, I might do a couple extra exercises to make sure the lats are activated, like pulling that elbow down and feeling that lat activate as I pull that elbow down. It looks like I have a little bit of a lag. Are you guys still with me? Somebody give me like a thumbs up if you can still hear me and see me and I'm not lagging like crazy. I'm going to move my setup a teeny bit closer to the router. I'm almost through, actually. Well, nobody gave me a thumbs up, but nobody gave me a we can't hear you, this is sign, so I'm going to keep going. Cool. Okay, so we did our swings. We checked in with our body. How's it activating? If it's not activating the way I want it to be activating, I'm going to add in some exercises to activate the muscles that are not activating and to open up the ones that might be overreacting that I don't want to. So then the last thing that I do for my warm-up is I do another little warm-up activation for my legs. And this one also helps a lot with my stability. So when I'm getting out on my board, especially if I'm paddling out into something that's choppy, rough, there's waves, right? Oh, here's all the comments. Oh, good. Okay, cool. Thanks, guys. All right, so this is going to activate the stability in my lower body. So I'm going to get into that position like those good mornings that I did where feet are hip distance apart, pointing forward. And what I'm going to do is 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. And the back leg is just for balance. I'm not going to put any weight on that. I'm going to do these with my front leg only. And I'm going to pull those hips back. And what I'm going to try and do is touch my opposite hand to toes. So fingertips down and up. And if I can, now, I'm going to lift that back foot off the ground and do this with one leg down and up. So this is helping my ankle activate, the stabilizers in my ankle, the stabilizers in my knee. And I'm going to do about 10 on each side, and then I'm going to switch. So, do the first couple with that back toe down for balance, pulling the hips back once I'm feeling balanced. And you can do this too as a modification with your paddle. And slide down, and you would do the same toe side touches as opposed to opposite. Right? So you can use your paddle or not. Woo, now that I use my paddle, I can't go without it. Good, I'm going to do about 10 on this side until this leg feels warm, feels active, feels stable. The joints are awake, alive, loud, enthusiastic, and ready to paddle. So now I'm covered in sweat, even though I already went for a paddle and took a shower. Maybe I'll have to go do that all over again. So, yeah, that's my warm-up. I think that was probably about 15 minutes, 10, 12 minutes worth of some dynamic exercises that would be really good to do to activate your posterior chain, loosen up your shoulders, your ankles, and activate the stabilizers in your legs and get your core lengthened, activated, and then what I would do is now don't go out and just start paddling as hard as you can right away. Paddle for at least 5 minutes, kind of continuing with that activation, that loosening, that relaxing, that elevating of the heart rate. And, you know, if you're going to do a workout, start it after about 10 minutes of good paddling time. And that should give you about a 20-minute warm-up. And I know that sounds like a lot, but that is the amount of time that I do most days for my warm-up, and it's definitely what I recommend for you as well. So if you have any questions, comments, obviously, again, there are lots more exercises that you can do to warm up. These are just a few of my favorites. And I'm happy to answer comments and questions in the box below. Sorry for any lagging, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.